can leave when she needs to. Jerry has agreed to make the motion for why we're having an electronic meeting, and I will give you the explanation for it. Chapter 1283 of the Virginia 2020 Acts of Assembly addresses the ability of conservation districts to hold electronic meetings without the need for a quorum being present in a single location when a state of emergency has been declared pursuant to sections 44-146.17 of the Code of Virginia. So, Jerry, if you'd be so kind.
Mr. Chairman, over the objection of the assistant web assistant, I move that the Northern Virginia Soil and Water Conservation District Board of Directors has determined the nature of the declared COVID-19 virus emergency makes it impractical or unsafe for us to assemble in a single location for the purpose of transacting business, statutorily required or necessary for us to continue operations and discharge our lawful purposes, duties, and responsibilities.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we hold our meeting electronically. If we can get that lady to quit. I think we can do it verbally. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. The meeting is open. Thank you both. I think we'll start this morning, though. I believe Meredith is going to introduce to us some of the 2021 Regional Science Fair Award winners. So, Meredith, if you'd be kind enough to do that, we'd appreciate it. I can't hear her. Is she on mute?
I think you're muted.
Good morning, everyone.
There she
Try
is.
that again. I'm very pleased to announce that we ran a really successful virtual science fair program this year in collaboration with FCPS. Our judges looked at 18 conservation-themed projects and chose 3 really stellar groups to award our first, second, and third place prizes, which was the scholarship and the book What If by Randall Munroe. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our third place winner, Julia Victor, and her project, The Effect of Plant Species on Carbon Sequestration. So I believe I'm going to be able to present this, hopefully, share my screen. Let's see if it lets me. Okay, there we go. Julia, are you here? Can you go ahead and make yourself known?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Julia. Let's see if it'll show. There we go. And so just tell me when you want me to switch the slides. Can everyone see my screen?
Okay.
No.
I cannot.
I have my presentation pulled up. I can present it if you want.
Is it not presenting? Yeah, go ahead and do that if you would like, if that's possible,
Okay.
Laura. I don't know. It doesn't want to share from my side.
Meredith, oh, there she goes. Julia's got it.
Okay,
You
perfect.
can see it? Okay, good.
We can see that.
Yep. Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Julia Victor, a 9th grader at W.T. Woodson High School. My project is Understanding Carbon Sequestration in 5 Virginia Native Plants. As you all know, climate change has affected virtually everyone on Earth, and it will continue to threaten the survival of the human race. I can't get my slide. Oh, there we go. Okay, my research question. Okay, so as we know, elevated carbon levels can lead to the greenhouse effect, which traps heat in the Earth's atmosphere, and it leads to climate change. Plants can reduce this by sequestering carbon through photosynthesis. The big pollutant that we talked about that leads to the greenhouse effect is carbon dioxide. So my project focuses on the carbon, as oxygen is not the molecule that is not the atom. Sorry, is not the element that is harming our environment. My research question is, do trees sequester more carbon than shrubs? Carbon sequestration is the process of storing carbon. Removing carbon from the atmosphere can reduce climate change, as seen in the slide before, and it can be done through photosynthesis. The difference, studies have shown that the difference in a plant's mass over time is caused by carbon sequestration. So as the plant grows, that change in mass can indicate how much carbon it absorbed. One other factor of this experiment is biodiversity. That means the variety of an of organisms in an ecosystem. Biodiversity is very important to water quality, soil, pollination, medicine, air quality, and more. Low biodiversity can have very negative effects on those things. In biodiversity, all organisms work together in a network of sorts to work together to help their environment thrive. The tree-shrub relationship is also very important because, as we know, both of those individual plants can sequester carbon, but they also work together to sequester carbon. For example, a large tree may grow and then a smaller shrub may grow using it as support. And both of those work together to each sequester carbon and help each other sequester carbon. My hypothesis, so the species chosen for my experiment are American holly, arrowwood viburnum, spice bush, strawberry bush, and black chokeberry. These are all species of shrubs and trees. American holly is a tree, the rest are shrubs. They're all native to Northern Virginia, and they were chosen based on their variety in leaf and stem structures, but also because of their durability during the winter season, as my project was in October and November. So there were 25 plants total, 5 of each species. My hypotheses were, hypothesis 1, across 24 days, American holly will gain more mass than spice bush. Null hypothesis. Across 24 days, black chokeberry, strawberry bush, and arrowwood viburnum will gain equal amounts of mass as spice bush. Spice bush was randomly chosen as the control. The procedure for my, the procedure for my experiment was I first collected my plants, my 25 plants, and bare rooted them. That means take out all the dirt and wash the roots gently off and then pat them down with a towel. And then measure them and collect that data. And then plant them in their new container. And I had a setup where all of the plants are on a table and there's a plant light over them. And they sat there and while I watered them for 24 days. And with the plant light set at 12 hours. And after 24 days, I repeated the bare rooting process, meaning I took them out of their containers, washed off the dirt, measured them so that that measurement would be clean and free from any excess dirt that wasn't actually part of the plant. These are a sample of some of the photos I took during my experiment. I made sure to document every step of the process so I could come back for further research. In graph 1, it shows the difference in mass over 24 days. As you can see, black chokeberry 1 was the plant that gained the most mass. Another thing in this graph is it demonstrates the amount of variance in the data I collected. For example, chokeberry 1 grew about 25 more grams than chokeberry 4. This variance could be reduced over a longer period, of time, but unfortunately, due to the time constraints of the experiment, that was not possible. Graph 2 shows the average change in mass for all of the plants. So, all of the species. So it's very similar to graph 1, but it condenses the data into each species, so you can tell overall which species won. So American holly is the one that did gain the most mass, but as you can see, black chokeberry was very close behind. The error bars show 1 standard deviation. They are slightly large in this, and that demonstrates the variance as seen in graph 1. Table 1 shows a t-test that was performed. The t-test shows the difference in mass over plants over 30 grams and under 30 grams. 30 grams is the mean of all of the plant data. So basically what it shows is that plants that started out larger ended up growing more than plants that started out smaller. The p-value of this is 2.4%, so that means there's a very small probability that observation is due to chance. In conclusion, American holly gained the most mass, and that means it sequestered the most carbon. Hypothesis 1 was consistent with the data. American holly did sequester the most carbon, but the null hypothesis is not consistent with the data. That means it can be rejected because all of the species had differences in the amount of mass they gained compared to spice bush. Another important information discovery from this is that trees and shrubs are both important because, as you see, American holly did gain the most mass, but black chokeberry and several others were very close behind. I think this is important because many climate change organizations have been focusing on like a plant a forest campaign where they just plant rows and rows of trees and they're all of the same tree and there's nothing else there. And I think it's very important to plant shrubs and understory and all of these other things that work together and create biodiversity and create their own ecosystem. So things that individuals can do to help their plants sequester more carbon is plant more trees and shrubs, like also shrubs. Shrubs are important. And then take care of plants, like trimming off dead branches or helping the plants thrive. And especially large plants, because as we saw in table 1, those large plants sequester a lot of carbon. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Does anybody have any quick questions for Julia?
Julia, Jerry Peters, you might look at your data again and normalize your result. That is, look at percent increase so that you perhaps get rid of the influence of the starting mass of your plants. So percent increase instead of actual, grams of change. That's it.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Julia, I'd be curious to see how, I know that you said like bigger plants are going to sequester more. I'm curious over time, and you're young enough that you can take data over time now. Like smaller plants, okay, are known to do better in the environment. Smaller trees and shrubs, when they're first planted, arborists have found that something that is smaller in caliper size will actually grow faster and do well, and survival in the environment is much more of a greater chance of survival. Therefore, if it survives and that it grows a lot faster, first year it sleeps, second year it creeps, the third year it leaps. By the third year, what kind of carbon sequestration and what kind of mass are you going to put on compared to those larger trees that were planted in a same study? You're young enough, you got plenty of time to do studies like that. But it's just something that I kind of thought of as your next experiment as you go forward, since you're only a freshman, and this is very exciting research data. Thank you very much.
That would even be a
Yeah,
good dissertation, Adria.
Yeah, I think a PhD.
I'm not quite there
I
yet.
got your PhD and your graduate work all lined up for you, Julia.
Yeah. So all of my plants were like roughly this big, I don't know, just like a foot or two tall. So I think in general that falls in with the smaller plants because obviously large plants are hard to weigh.
Julia, once again, we thank you. Meredith, do we have our other guest?
I don't see Jay or Colton here, although I might be wrong. I'll just go ahead and give a shout out. If Jay or Colton is here, can you go ahead and make yourself known? Yeah, I don't see them here, but I do actually have a video of their presentation. So I'll go ahead and show that as well. Jay and Colton are our second place winner. They have done their project on mitigating global warming by converting CO2 to carbonates. And their brief intro says that Jay and Colton attend Woodson High School. Their project is a continuation of previous year's research. Colton moved back to the Fairfax area and joined in on the project. They play baseball together on the high school team, as well as being in the same physics class. Working on this project has really helped them further their scientific knowledge and educate themselves on the possible solution to the overwhelming problems of global warming. So I'll see if my screen will let me share this time. Alrighty, let's see.
You'll have to kick the tire.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll let me. Let's see. Maybe I can do this. Can it share? Do you see now?
Yeah. Now I see it.
All right. And I don't know if it will share the audio. Does Laura, does it share the audio automatically?
It should. Let me see here.
It does not. When you went to share screen, when you click the share option, you need to
Okay.
also include share your computer audio.
Okay, let me fix that then.
Thank you, Ashley.
It is, because I'm in the web version, it is having struggles. Let's see. There we go. If I share this, can you guys hear the audio now?
I cannot.
Okay. Well, then we might have a little bit of a problem. We might have to move on to our first place winner. Alrighty, so our first place winner is Lynn Tao and her project Impervious Surfaces and Stream Health Factors, a study using machine learning techniques and multivariate statistical analyses. Lynn is a sophomore at Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. She loves the creative aspect of technology and is fascinated by its possible integrations with scientific research. She got interested in this research because she witnessed the firsthand anthropological effects on the environment during a water assessment task. Outside of school, she enjoys mentoring kids in STEM, playing with her 2 mini poodles, and being the cause of many baking disasters. Lynn unfortunately couldn't be here today, but she sent her video presentation for the state competition. We're very proud of her advancement in the science fair competition and wish her the best at the state competition level. So let me go ahead and share that. See if this will work. Let's see. Is it sharing the audio this time?
No, not for
Okay.
me.
It's not showing the screen.
I saw her, but didn't get the audio.
If it's okay with you all, I might just go ahead and email Ashley the files and see if she can present it.
Anyway, Meredith,
And
on
we'll come
behalf
back
of
onto
our
that.
entire organization, we congratulate all these marvelous winners and we appreciate the work they're doing. Thank you. By the way, I think you've all heard, maybe you haven't heard, but Diane Hoffman is not with us today either. She's having some serious medical problems, so we all wish her the very best.
Absolutely.
And today, Monica Bilger has a work conflict. She isn't with us. She is our secretary. So would one of the other directors be willing to open up the minutes for approval or move that they be approved as presented? We have a 12-page series of minutes from the last meeting.
I'd so move. Monica said she'd reviewed them and they were okay with her.
I can second.
So it's been moved and seconded the minutes be approved as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I think we can do it verbally. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. Chris, how about the treasurer's report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've reviewed the treasurer's report for March 2021 and the third quarter fiscal year for 2021 and find them acceptable and suitable to file for audit.
Thank you, Chris. Does anybody have any questions for Chris or Heather? If not, I think, Adria, we're down to the technical review committee.
Thank you. All right. We've been going over some of the things that we all discussed in the meeting. I really appreciate your help and assistance. We met on April 20th to review 3 soil and water conservation plans that Willie first described to us, and then we went over some of the completed CAP projects and the VCAP applications. So first we're going to go forward with some of the projects that Willie described, and these are the soil and water quality conservation plans. we need to take action on approval of 3 plans, one at the Madeira School, one at Beverage Equine Operation, and the other at Rupert Equine and Garlic Operation. And Willie and I discussed the garlic one with you all. It's a very interesting one, and that is each one, none of them are seeking any cost share, and it's a total of between the 3 plans, it's 38.6 total property acreage. And so I'm going to make a motion to approve the Madeira School equine operation, Brian Beverage equine operation, and the Jason Rupert equine and garlic operation. Make that motion to approve for Ag and Forestal District.
I would second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the 3 soil and water conservation plans. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
Okay.
We have approved the 3 conservation plans.
All right. So, next, Judy went over the EIP funded conservation assistance program, the reimbursement for Hickory Vale Farms, a Great Falls location, which is in the Difficult Run watershed. This was something that we approved for the application, the landscaping, back in July of 2020, and Judy provided photographs of the completed project, which included the installation of about 12 native trees and the installation of 40 little blue stem grasses. This homeowners association is also interested in continuing with their conservation landscape initiatives in the future. So we are we're gonna make a motion here to approve the reimbursement of $3,500 to the Hickory Vale Farm Homeowners Association for the completion of their conservation landscape project.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the reimbursement of $3,500 to the Hickory Vale Farm Homeowners Association. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. We're now down to CAP, I think.
Okay, so these we had a great discussion here. I might have some assistance from Dan on one of them, and also I think Willie had something to get back to us on, but we had a discussion that was led by Judy and Dan and Willie. There were 50 site visits, which resulted in 24 project applications from 20 applicants. So 7 of the property owners are choosing to defer their application to next fiscal year. And we're going to also go over some more applications in May. So there were each application that was discussed. We went through several, and we have I think all the information we need to approve all of them. I'm gonna go through some of the ones to kind of remind you, and I'm looking at, if you open up your I am getting, so Dan, you might have to help me here because I am given names and I have addresses and numbers and application numbers, and I am unsure which ones are which to put together. So you had one to discuss, Dan. Can you go forward with that, please, and identify the number and location?
I might rely on Judy for the number, but I know the name is Favre, Favre, and they were doing a fairly large conservation landscaping. We were going to give it contingent approval, contingent upon them pursuing some permit questions with the county, and actually they have. So they were proposing a big, just shy of 2,000 square foot conservation landscaping project, which was entirely within the resource protection area. As it turns out, they are fine to proceed because the one thing that was holding them up was they had a small stone patio included as part of their project, which they weren't asking for cost share, but it was included. And that is technically considered an impervious surface within the resource protection area and would require a water quality impact analysis and a public hearing. Rather than bothering with that, they've just decided to take that stone patio out. So they're just going to go with the landscaping plan. There was also some concerns from the TRC about one canopy tree and some root disturbance within its critical root zone. I actually had misread the plans. That canopy tree is something that they will be planting. It's not an existing tree, so it's actually part of their landscaping plan. So the concerns about the critical root zone are moot because that's going to be one of the new seedlings that they're putting in.
Dan, did you say they're just not going to put down that stone?
That's right. They're just going to go
That's
with
right.
the landscaping, and the landscaping itself does not require any permission from the county. So they're going to forgo the stone.
But Dan, if I'm right, that stone patio did look like it was 2,500 square feet, so they can come back sometime later and put that stone patio without consequence, right?
They would still have to do a public hearing because it's actually a very small stone patio. It's only about 65 square feet, but it's considered the county considers that an accessory structure within the RPA, and almost regardless of the size, it requires that
Because
public
it's
hearing.
an RPA. Gotcha.
So they can do it. They're not prohibited, but they do have to jump through quite a few somewhat onerous hoops, and they just wanted to avoid that.
Right, but it's not the 2,500 square foot requirement.
Right.
It's an RPA requirement.
That's an RPA requirement. That's right.
Thank you.
And their planting itself is going to be about 2,000 square feet. So they're safe on that side.
So they're good to go.
They are good to go. Yep. All the contingencies have been addressed. There was another one, the Allen Conservation Landscaping. This one is not in an RPA, but it's larger than 2,500 square feet. In consulting with the county, they said that this can go forward, assuming that they can stage the project so they're not disturbing more than 2,500 square feet at once. So basically, they can do it in stages where they disturb and plant a sub 2,500 square foot section, get it stabilized, and then move on to the next one. So that would still be, for the Allen property, a contingent application, because I need to discuss now with the applicant whether she would be able to do that, and she obviously needs to discuss with her contractor whether that would be able to be done as well too. But it sounds like if she can do that, then it's going to be perfectly fine from the county's perspective and permitting perspective.
Dan, you recommend we go ahead and approve that, or wait until that contingency is totally settled?
I would recommend approval, and with the understanding that she can't proceed until that contingency is major, until she is sure she can proceed with that staging plan.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. Now there's one more that I think is Rosier's Branch Drive. It's 026. It's the last one on the list, and I think that's the one that Willie discussed, and we discussed the plant.
That was the
Or
Favre
no?
property. The
The
Rosier's
Favre
Branch Drive
property.
is the
That's
Favre
the same
property.
one. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
So then,
the FAR property was the RPA property, and the one that you're talking about now is 003. Flanagan.
003. Okay. So that one, there was a question about the plant choice there, as far as the steep slope with green and gold. And so Willie, did you want to talk about that, Mr. Flanagan? Poher Court?
Yes, so I relate to Mr. Flanagan the recommendations from our technical review committee. And so there were basically three things, two being key. The first one being for him to consider a path that would consist of mainly Pennsylvania sage, so that the mowing equipment can have free access with minimal damage to the plants to the septic field that they need to maintain. He was open to that, but he informed me that the landscaping company, the elite landscaping companies, the guys have been doing his landscaping forever, And now that they know he's going to be treating that stretch of that access road, the landscaper advised him or assured him that they would not need to take the heavy equipment up there. Just a push lawnmower will be good to wheel up there and just cut the small portion of the septic field so that they can still maintain the design as it is. The second thing was our suggestion for him to consider incorporating into the mix for for the Chrysogonum virginianum, to include some golden groundsel, because golden groundsel has some advantages over the Chrysogonum in that it spreads and is more hardy, and they both look very much alike. He loved that idea. So yes, he looked up the grade of our golden groundsel and said yes, he's going to recommend that his landscaper include some of this golden groundsel. As a matter of fact, he says he probably would ask that he gets more of that because of the nature of that particular species. The third thing was just for him to be able to remove certain grasses growing on the left-hand side of that picture, which we believe is very invasive. And he said, yes, he would also advise his landscaper during this spring to remove as much of those as possible so they don't invade this area and take over his project. So he's in agreement with most of what we said, and it's promising to implement those.
So Willie, that one's also good to go?
It is good to go, yes.
Yep. Excellent. All right, so then we will move forward with a motion to approve all of the applications that we reviewed and listed to the and then submit them to the state VCAP steering committee. Because I don't see any reason to make two motions, so I'm going to make a full motion to approve all of the slates of applications.
And they're all listed in the minutes.
They are, yes, sir.
Is there a second to that motion?
Sure,
Jerry seconded. It's been moved and seconded. We approve all the applications listed in the minutes of the TRC meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed signify by saying aye. There are no opposition. The motion is approved. Thank you, Adria. Anything else on the part of the TRC?
Yep, one more thing. We have a meeting coming up on May 18th at 10 a.m. That's when our next meeting is, and we'll be reviewing several more applications for our VCAP. Thanks, everybody. That's it.
Thank you, Adria. And whenever you do need to leave, why, we understand.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I think, Laura, we're down to Maria talking a little bit about the annual native seedling sale. Is Maria on?
Good morning. Am I coming
There
through?
she is.
I was wondering if somebody who is a co-host could pull up the PowerPoint for me so I don't experience the same issue that Meredith had about going through the web browser, because the only way I can not come in as Northern Virginia SWCD is if I come in through the web browser. So I wouldn't be able to share my audio. If anybody can go into the seedling folder and then 2021.
Ashley, would you mind? Or I'm not sure
No
who the other
problem. I'm taking a
co-host
look
is.
now.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
And there is some audio. So when you share, if you could enable that. And it's the one that's number 2.
Found it. Thank you.
Thanks.
I think we'll all be glad when we can meet again in person.
Amen. I don't look forward to the commute, but meeting in person is much more effective.
It is, Jerry.
I'm saving a lot of money on gas.
It might take a few minutes. It's a pretty large presentation.
It is a very large file, so it's
Yeah, I've
taking just a
tried to
little bit of time to download.
tried to compress it a few times. I can start just speaking about our seedling sale until we get the PowerPoint up. So on April 16th and 17th, just very recently, a few weeks ago, we had our seedling sale distribution of our annual native bare root shrubs and trees. It was extremely popular, the sale this year. We sold out in record time, I believe less than 12 hours for 2 of the packages. On some of the slides, I have the breakdown of the 2 of the packages. We did things a little bit differently this year as far as the numbers in the packages. Traditionally, we have one package that offers 5 shrub seedlings, 5 different species, and then we have one package that's 3 tree seedlings. So we kind of call them the shrub and the tree. This year, we sort of split up to package 1 and package 2. We largely did not have any tall canopy trees. We were mainly shrubs. The largest understory tree we had was a red bud in one of our trees in one of our packages. And that was largely in response to the popularity and the feedback we get from our seedling sale purchasers. Many people are frequent us year after year after year, and they just say the lots in Northern Virginia aren't large enough to accommodate all of those taller canopy trees. So the shrubs do tend to be very popular. And I think by switching to 2 packages of shrubs, we really saw just how popular those packages were. So our one package was the Space Savers and Bountiful Berries, and that one did sell out just a couple hours before our Super Shrubs and Tiny Tree, which is sort of that larger size. And one thing to note about the packages as well, or just the seedling sale in general, the planning for the seedling sale starts. I think Laura yesterday gave a good analogy about like the Rose Bowl parade and how once it ends, they dive right into planning for the next year. And so that's sort of the how the planning goes for this. So we end, and just right after this board meeting, we're having a sort of wrap-up meeting, gut check to see how it went, see if we can improve anything for next year, what are our lessons learned, what needs to be tweaked. And then starting in the fall, in August, September timeframe, in accordance with when those the distributors publish their lists of what they have to offer, that's when we go ahead and we dive in and we actually select our packages. So it is a long time frame from the fall through to the winter and the spring to get this going. We still, without pictures, Ashley, I'm not seeing it yet.
Maria and Laura,
Unfortunately,
could
we
I
are.
just make another comment on the value of the seedling sale? It's a whole lot more than the value of the income that we receive. The visibility we get as a district from that sale is invaluable.
Yeah, it's a very, very popular, as we saw just how quickly we sold out. And my next slide, that's a perfect segue, John, thanks, goes into the advertising and how Meredith and Ashley put together these great Facebook posts with some schematics for us, pretty different ways to try and tease and popularize those seedlings with gorgeous pictures, and I believe they used software to do that. So the advertising was the Facebook posts, we got it out there, emails to past customers, as well as to the master gardeners and master naturalists. So those sort of regular groups. Not as much in the past. We have done flyering. Due to COVID, we did not go out at the nature centers and other areas like that. Libraries, typically we do put up flyers, but the timing of that, of course, with things being closed, the in-person flyering is not as popular. Yeah, Laura, you want to go ahead?
Maria, I've got your presentation up. Being here at the office, I may have just a little bit more bandwidth than some of the others. So why don't I pull it up for you so that the folks can see your beautiful pictures. So hold on one second. I'm going to share my screen So you should be able to see it.
I can.
Okay.
All right, so starting at the top, this was just our thank you to everybody who contributed pictures. We had a lot of pictures from different staff members capturing all of these action shots for us. So this was one of the busy days during our bundling over at Sleepy Hollow Bath and Racket. So you can tell we were bundled up, so it was a little bit chilly, but we can go on to the next slide. Thanks, Laura. So again, the packages, the Super Shrubs and Tiny Tree was the larger package that did sell out just hours slower than the other one, a little less popular, but still in record time we sold out. And again, the largest item we had was the Eastern Red Bud. Next slide. And then the super popular package, the Space Savers and Bountiful Berries, featured smaller shrubs for the landscape. And some really nice offerings there. We do try that planning. We start in the fall. We take a good hard look at all of our past seedling sales and which seedlings we've offered when, and we really try to offer a wide variety, diverse offering of seedlings from year to year to keep our seedling purchasers happy. So next slide. If you wouldn't mind advancing to the next slide. Thanks, Laura.
Sorry, Maria.
It's not going.
It is.
Oh, okay.
Stuck here for a moment. Sometimes I have to, there it is. I have to use the space bar this time. Sorry.
No problem. So this was that advertising slide. Thank you to Meredith and Ashley for putting together these great teasers for our Facebook post to get out there to let everybody know when the sale was going to be opening. Again, online advertising and emailing was our primary method due to COVID of getting the word out. But I think it was very successful due to the very short amount of time it took for us to sell out. And next slide.
Hold on, it's taking a moment.
I know. The next slide I can speak to it. I've got it pulled up, which might be confusing it as well. This was Laura and I picking up those seedlings where they were stored at the cooler in Warrenton. So we purchased 8,000 seedlings from 3 different distributors: Virginia Department of Forestry, Maryland Department of Natural Resources, and Alpha Nurseries. So we were loaded down with those seedlings that we took them to our bundling. I don't even think we got all of them in that picture. There was some stuffed in the back of Laura's Jeep as well. And on the next slide, we have a little bit of by the numbers. Total, we had 394 customers who have purchased 812 seedlings. Total, that's 6,496 stems that went in the ground. We also sold 52 Plant Nova Natives guides, and then we had added in 2019 this sort of $5 add-on as a donation to support the district, and we received 28 donations through that purchase as well. So I think that was more popular than years past. So nice to see that tick up as well. And on our next slide, it highlights our rain barrels and composters. There, we did 50 pre-made rain barrels this year at $75. I think some of those costs over the years have been going up due to there's some supply issue with the barrels that Taylor had to work through, and then also we only did 50, whereas before sometimes we would have 75 or even more because they are very popular. But due to, again, COVID and just getting the pre-made rain barrels constructed with in advance with the volunteers, Taylor felt comfortable with the number of 50. And then Dan also put together 15 tumbling composter kits. Again, those were very popular as well. I think for this year, the foreseeable future, I'm not sure. Normally, we have an annual build your own workshop as well for those tumbling composters, but I think we're geared towards just offering the kits, at least for now, at the sale as pre-sold, and just of the logistics of having folks together for one of those build your own days. Still not quite sure how to work through all of that. So on our next slide, next two slides, we'll get down to the sales breakdown, followed by the summary of expenses. One thing to highlight for our sales breakdown, that our staff time, our salaries are not included in these figures. We had lots of volunteers from partner agencies and family members come and help us. So those are not incorporated into these numbers. But for this year, 2021, compared to if we're looking most recently, 2019, we made the decision due to COVID to not do the in-person day of sales of the extras, which traditionally in the past we have done. I think that's given us a bit of a boost in the past. So I think that's a large difference there for that revenue. Expenses, we were also committed to purchasing, due to some of the studies Jim has told us from Virginia Department of Forestry and some of the feedback we've received from people who buy time and time again. They really do like, and they find that the largest size seedlings that we can provide really do survive better. So we did purchase, and you'll see on the next slide in a minute, the largest size of those seedlings that were available, which do translate into higher costs for those plants. Let's go ahead to the, thank you, summary of expenses. There again, the big blue bar, you can see the uptick in that cost of plants due to us committing to purchasing the largest size seedlings from our distributors that were available. And I heard a lot of great feedback that people were saying, wow, these plants are big. They're bigger than I thought. They're really healthy. They're all leafing out, and people very grateful, asking, wow, how old are these things? They're really going gangbusters. So very happy to hear that type of positive feedback. Helps keep folks coming back years after years. The sales tax is in there. Other expenses, a slight uptick in that as well, I think is due to the, again, COVID with sort of the box lunches and some of those other expenses we had that were due to just trying to keep everybody distance and safe and not sharing things as much. And those online fees are pretty static over the years. So I took this chart from 2015, which is the first year that we did transition to using an online platform called 3D Cart for our sales. Prior to that, everybody mailed in checks. So we have those online fees built in since 2015 to our expenses. Was there anything maybe Heather or Laura for for the numbers for expenses or sales breakdown that you just wanted to touch on or highlight?
No, nothing from me. I think you explained it really well, Maria. I mean, this was we had to make a lot of adjustments this year in order to, for COVID related reasons, but also for some of those commitment reasons as well in regards to providing good stock. So I don't really have anything else to add.
Okay, thanks. So on our next slide, we've got a big thank you to Urban Forest Management, another one of our partners. They provided this year, they printed out copies of these nice green tree basics booklets that they've been getting out through that the Tree Commission produced. And so we were able to adapt it very slightly. Just on the inside fold, we could have the color code guide, whereas in the past we would sort of just give people 2 sheets of paper, one with the color code guide and one with a planting guide. I think Heather was noting that a lot of times those little sheets of paper just sort of float away, and often she gets a lot of follow-up emails of people saying, hey, what's what in my package? I lost my color code guide. Whereas I think because this book was a little more substantial, I haven't heard, but I don't think we heard back from a lot of folks saying, what are I lost my color code guide. What are they? So I think that booklet is a really nice addition that we had to offer. And so thank you for Urban Forest Management for printing those for us, covering those costs. Also, we highlighted with this big QR code here. Again, we are trying to promote the My Tree Counts through Virginia Department of Forestry to reach their tree planting goal over the next 5 years. So encouraging everybody. The guidance we have received is that everybody does need to self-report their trees and shrubs that go in the ground. We could not just sort of do one big batch and say all of these were planted because they really do want to know a bit of the geographic description. But we did have people purchase from other states who were picking up. So they asked me, they said, can I log that in if I'm in Maryland or DC or wherever they came from? And I wasn't quite sure, but I think the answer I told them was unfortunately not. But it just shows kind of the wide reach that we do have, that folks do will drive from a ways off to get our product. And on the next slide, to follow up with that My Trees count, I've just got a brief screenshot of the map for the reporting app for Virginia Department of Forestry for people to add their trees once they're done planting. And then due to COVID, we didn't have kind of the typical outreach display where we invite people to come up and ask questions of the tree steward or of Jim. We tried to move folks through as quickly as possible. So in order to offer a venue for people to ask questions about their seedlings, the following Monday, the 19th, Jim did a planting Q&A. So that was well attended, and we got some good feedback there, great discussions. Cicadas are on a lot of people's minds right now, so that was a hot button topic. On the next slide, from that webinar that Jim had, I don't know if we could just play the first minute of this, but Jim did go ahead and put together with some of our seedlings this wonderful demonstration video that he shared during his Q&A session, and it's a great resource to have. Oh no, did we have the same problem with the audio? We can just pause it and skip to the next slide. But again, thank you to Jim for putting together that great resource for us. And it's been shared with the folks who were on our webinar already and those who had registered for it as a resource.
Maria, let me try to end this real quick and see if I can restart it and make sure that we restart it. Slideshow, play narrative, keep slide, rehearse. Can you show me, Ashley, I'm sorry, can you tell me where share audio?
It's not within the PowerPoint menu. When you're in WebEx and you choose the share option, and it comes up before you choose your screen, at the top there's an option to share your computer audio.
Okay, let me try this again. Thanks, Ashley, for being our, there it is. Okay, I got it. Thanks for being our IT guru here today. All right. Let me try this again. Ready?
Hi. Today we're going to demonstrate how to plant the bare root seedlings. Now, for those of you who bought seedlings from the Northern Virginia Soil and Water Conservation District seedling sale, they came packaged like this with wet newspaper inside around the roots inside a plastic bag. When you're planting these, there are 3 important things that you have to keep in mind. The first is you need to keep the roots moist until you get it into the ground. The second is you need to put the trunk flare at grade. That means you need to figure out where the stem stops being the above ground part and becomes the below ground part. You want that right where the top of the ground is. And the third thing is you should not amend your backfill soil. So nothing goes in that hole that you dig for these seedlings except the seedling itself, the soil that came out, and water. So when you open up your bundle,
I think that's a good little sample there. Thank you, Laura. And the next few slides, I did want to invite Laura to speak to about, she worked really hard to make sure those extra seedlings we had found really good homes. So I wanted to let her speak to some of where they went.
So one of the things that we started actually last year was we recognized that every year we have extra seedlings that we've got to find a happy home for after the seedling sale. And what has happened in the past is for about 3 weeks after the sale, 2 to 3 weeks after the sale, our front office area of our suite up here in Heritage Building becomes basically a florist shop, and Heather sits with an apron on and passes out seedlings to those who come and purchase them straight from our office. It really was, while that was kind of fun, we recognized that there was a need to be a bit more proactive in terms of trying to get some of these seedlings out to different restoration sites. At the same time, over the last couple of years, there's been some analysis that's been done at the Department of Public Works and Environmental Services using the One Fairfax Vulnerability Assessment and Index that's been prepared to identify where there are those communities, excuse me, that are most vulnerable and what that looks like in terms of tree canopy coverage. And what's interesting, perhaps not necessarily surprising for some, is that many of our most vulnerable communities are also areas where there is low tree canopy coverage. So we worked with the Urban Forestry Management Division and the Fairfax County Park Authority's invasive management areas to identify sites where we could provide all of the extra seedlings. And because we were not going to be selling extras this year, we knew we were going to have quite a few. So we donated over 500 seedlings to these various parks to be planted as restoration projects in these areas with low tree canopy coverage and vulnerable communities. So again, reaching out to a number of those areas and helping to meet not just our goals in terms of environmental restoration and supporting all land areas in Fairfax County, but also supporting many of the other initiatives going on through the One Fairfax initiative at Fairfax County. So I really wanted to thank a number of partners. Of course, Jim McGlone with the Virginia Department of Forestry. He has tremendous support for all of the reasons that you heard Maria share. At the Urban Forestry Management Division, Joanne Allen and Brian Kitely were both very instrumental in helping to update and provide us the access and also go forward with the printing of those tree basics booklets. And then Patricia Greenberg and Gloria Menendez with the Fairfax County Park Authority's invasive management area worked really hard to engage their volunteered site leaders at these locations in order to have events that have been taking place over the last 2 weeks, many of which took place the same weekend as our distribution event for our seedling sale. So we're really proud of the fact that we've been able to not only distribute out to folks' private properties, but also work toward that restoration. And John, I think this gets back to a point you were making just a little bit ago, which is our program really kind of is way more than just the amount of money that we're receiving. It really is working toward a number of shared goals and shared efforts. So we're really proud of that. Fairfax Relief also was a recipient of some of our New Jersey Tea extras as well. And they're, of course, very appreciative of that too. So thanks very much to Taylor for all of her efforts as well. So let's see if I can figure out how to advance the slides here.
Slides are just a few fun, more pictures from some of those planting events that Laura just spoke to. So some of the IMA volunteers, this was one at the Difficult Run Stream Valley Park. They had even had Girl Scouts displaying about invasive plants. So this was I believe these were work days where invasives were removed and the seedlings were planted as well. And there was just, I think Judy sent us some photos for the next one as well from, let me see if I can pull up, Royal Lake Park. So again, another invasives management area through the Park Authority and these efforts of those seedlings getting in the ground where they belong. So very happy to see that. As well, we have very proud plant parents, I would say, recipients of our seedlings, and they track them for years and take gorgeous photos. So this is just a brief recognition of some of our seedlings that people have purchased in the past and sent us beautiful photos this year of their growth and development and the wildlife that are using the seedlings that we get out there. And the last slide is just a really big thank you and recognition. We could not have done this at all without our staff, our volunteers, our family members, partner agencies, and board members for helping make this event possible. So if there's any questions about the seedling sale, love to take them online or offline. Again, just right after this, our staff are going to dig into the seedling sale a little bit more, kind of wrap it up for the year and reflect on how our changes went for COVID and all sorts of other things.
Thank you, Maria. Any questions for Maria or Laura or anybody? If not, she also said they take them. Yes.
John,
Yes.
unfortunately, I did get one complaint just Saturday from one of my neighbors who works at the library and complained that they didn't hear about the sale this year. And I explained that it sold out very quickly and they only did online advertising. They didn't have a chance to get the flyers out before it was sold out.
So I
Well-
actually did a special outreach to the library and I emailed them and asked them how best to get it out to them. And I did get the library flyers, but I got it to them right in that week. I think they were in transit to the libraries right before the in-person services shut down. So I did try to have that outreach to the libraries
Okay.
still, realizing that that is a really popular, and we have had that feedback that people hear about this stuff in the libraries very frequently. So we got them some flyers, but they they were caught in the lurch.
Well, while that's a complaint, it's probably a good sign.
Yes. Also, I just want to make sure that those FCPA plantings of the extra seedlings got recorded in my trees count.
We are working with
And
the
if you
Park
wanted
Authority to make sure that happens, Jim. Apologies for interrupting.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And they can even put in a little story about how they removed invasives and planted native seedlings to replace them.
Anything else? Well, again, Maria, thank you, and Laura and Jim, everybody.
John,
Yes.
I just wanted to thank Maria for her leadership this year on the seedling sale and express my appreciation to the whole team, because it really is an entire team effort. And Maria was alluding to it at the beginning of the conversation and beginning of her presentation that we really do begin the seedling sale begins in September. Well, begins at the end of the last seedling sale, but we begin ordering in September. So there's a lot of things that we're going to be considering certainly for this next year. But it is an all hands on deck kind of activity, and we all play a particular role in terms of trying to make it happen in a very worthwhile way, not just for our organization, but also for everybody here in Fairfax County. So I really commend our team. One of the other things that we did a little bit differently this year was we reached out to the Board of Supervisors and many of our partners early. We knew that it was going to go quickly this year. We had no idea just how quickly it would go. But the fact that we were able to make sure that they had the information in their newsletters in January before the sale was really beneficial. So anyway, just wanted to, again, thank our team, thank Maria, and we look forward to offering the service again in the next year with our partners.
I think we are now down to the green breakfast. I don't know whether Harry or Laura wants to take this on first, but Harry?
John, it's going to have to be Laura. I've lost track of what we're doing on the green breakfast. And no excuse for my inefficiency here, but I have not been well and concentrating on getting better rather than on this. So Laura, can you tell me about tell us all about the next green breakfast?
Sure. So the next green breakfast, let me actually see if I can get out of here so I can pull up my calendar, is on May 8th. We're working right now actually with the Fairfax County Park Authority's invasive management area group to come and share a little bit about their programs, but also share some practical advice on how to get rid of some of the more common invasive plants from private property as well. So informative and practical and useful at the same time. So we look forward to giving them the podium on May 8th. So stay tuned. We'll be getting out some promotional materials here this week.
Thank you both.
Sounds
Was that you, Harry?
I simply commented that it sounds exciting and I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Jerry, we're down to the tree commission.
Unmute myself. I missed the March meeting, so I've gone through the notes. I did make it to the April meeting last week, and the key things I want to pass on to you is that we had intended back in March to have a community of practice meeting in April. That now we're looking at the second half of May to do that. The community of practice is called for in the tree action plan. Representatives of agencies and other groups, not outside the county, but county agencies and other people who are interested in advancing the tree action plan. We plan to have twice annual meetings called a community of practice to go over topics that we can do things, share information, as well as come up with initiatives to forward the purposes of the tree action plan. So a lot of discussion about that and how that information we get from the partners from the community of practice will feed into the tree commission's annual report, which has been a point of contention since I've been on the tree commission about what it should look like and what we should include. We're hoping that the community of practice and the results they bring from their own organizations will feed that annual report. In May, the first topic of conversation was the amendments that have been made to Chesapeake Bay Act regulations. The act has been modified already, but the regulations now are in the state of draft, and they've been sent out to the county agencies for comment. A couple of problems with the act, and also has not been cured in the draft regulations. Is that, and this only applies to RPAs as far as we're concerned, there's a definition of mature trees. The act and the regulations called for the preservation of mature trees for any change in an RPA. But then the question is, as Jim can elaborate, I'm sure, what is a mature tree? How do you define it? The other is the act and the regulation has not clarified this, is that there's for other things outside of the 50-foot border, there's a requirement that mature trees be protected to the maximum extent practicable. And the definition of what's practicable and might be left to the counties to define for themselves, which is what some people are promoting. Define, we can make our own stricter regulations to define that if need be. But the whole question of who's going to define it, whether it's in the regulations or left up to the counties, is a matter of ongoing discussion. One of the things that participants here might need to know is that the act requires that there is no building within 50 feet of the stream the stream that's being the source of the RPA. Their RPAs are 100 feet wide, and until this act was changed, whatever exceptions that could be made to the RPA, and Chris, Chris Kerner knows this deal. There was discretion within 50 feet about making exceptions. The act takes that discretion away, as I understand it. Chris, do you have any better interpretation of that? Yes, Chris is muted. The county is working on comments. They'll be passing on comments on these RPA regulations to the state as part of the comment period, which is going on now. I talked about annual reports, the community of practice. We worked on the agenda for the community of practice at the meeting. Still not resolved, but that'll be planned. There's another initiative going on regarding RPAs, resource protection areas. It's been going on for a while. It's still in progress. We have in the public facilities manual requirements for restorative plantings in RPAs. There are changes being proposed to that, fairly technical, detailed things, but there's a 12 May public hearing by the Planning Commission. We have 2 members who are going to attend to that and report back to us. The Tree Commission doesn't report to the Planning Commission. We report to the Board of Supervisors. So based upon what happens at the Tree Commission meeting, at the Planning Commission public hearing, we'll probably be coming up with suggestions be sent to the Board of Supervisors as our comment on the changes to the public facilities manual. The other thing that I think of note for that meeting, I hope Jim is going to talk about later. Jim, you're going to talk about the spotted lanternfly?
I had planned to mention it, yes.
Okay, fine. We'll save that for Jim's presentation. That's all I have from the Tree Commission. I look forward to a late May, what do we call it? Community of practice meeting, and hopefully we'll have some good information to share from that next time. Thank you.
Any attendees have any comments or questions for Jerry on the Tree Commission? If not, Assad, I think I saw you on. Are you here for the Engineering Standards Review Committee?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Good morning.
ESRC again did not have a meeting in April, but looks that in May they are going to have a meeting, and I think the May meeting probably would be exciting for Northern Virginia Soil and Water Conservation staff to hear about. They are going to review the new proposed stormwater detention facilities for infill. I don't know if you're aware that LDS now requires that all infill in Fairfax County to be equipped with detention facilities in order to control the volume of runoff coming out of these infills. They are going to control 2.54 inch of any storm. There are 4 adapted facilities that include infiltration trench, a small rain garden, underground detention facility, which are kind of mini chambers, and tree planters. So this is a very good, positive, and new development, which the Northern Virginia Soil and Water Conservation District have been promoting for years. And also the new design comes with a spreadsheet very similar to what the district develops for VCAP. So it will make it very easy for small consultants to design them and build them. In coming months, I will be able to give you more details and the stage review process by ESRC as they come. And finally, I congratulate the district for wonderful, successful seedling sale, and I apologize for not being able to participate. It was the first time for 22 years that I did not participate, and I promise that I'll be more organized next year.
Thank you, Assad. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Assad? If not, is George Lamb on at all? I didn't see him, Laura. Do you have something on the Community Energy and Climate Action Plan Committee, Laura?
I don't have a report from George today.
If Chris is on, does he have anything from the Climate Adoption and Resiliency Plan Committee?
It hasn't formally started yet, as far as the county folks with Matt Myers have started organizing, but none of us have been contacted yet.
Thank you, Chris. I think we're down to other things for the directors and associates. I would just mention once again, I mentioned it at the start. Hello.
Hi, this is John again. And on your last topic, there's 2 meetings coming up in May. And they're bringing the 2 subgroups back together. I can tell you that. And they're trying to, and there's going to be another public commentary meetings being announced here. I just got word on that. So I just wanted to let you know things are working towards getting this to the board.
Do you know when the meetings are, Jonna?
Yeah, you want to hang on a second? I can give you that. You talking about the meetings for the community?
Yes.
Wait a minute, I'll give you that, or I can send it out. If you want, I can put it out.
Why don't you send it out?
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, Chris, I have confirmed with Matt and Allison over with the Office for Environmental and Energy Coordination, who are coordinating the Climate Adaptation and Resiliency Plan, that you are on the Community Action Group. And I do, just as Jonna was mentioning, they do have a meeting scheduled for next week on May 5th, so Cinco de Mayo. They should have reached out to you so that I know that you're on the list, because I've confirmed that a couple of times. So hopefully, if you haven't received it,
is that different than my
Chris?
May 10th? Laura, is that different than the May 10th one that I have?
Likely.
It could be a different meeting. The one I have for the CCAP is May 10th.
So that's a different planning initiative. So that one is the Climate, Energy, and Community Action Plan. So this one is, there's 2 different initiatives going on. George Lamb is our representative for CCAP, and Chris Corner is our representative on the Community Action Group for the CARP effort. So so yes, two community action groups, 2 different plans, 2 different dates. So, but Chris, let me know if you don't. I will be happy to forward on this meeting invitation to you, so you can anticipate that in your inbox here soon.
That would be good, because I know Matt, and we'd had a chance to chat quite a bit during one of the lunches of the seedling packaging. So does he have a different email address now than what he did with the county?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought, because he's still county. If you could do
Anything
that would be
else?
good.
Anything else on the 2 committees, CCAP or CARP? CARP are good smoked. I think we're down to other directors' reports, and I would just mention once again that in addition to Harry with his problems, Diane Hoffman is also having some health problems. So keep both of them, if you will, in our thoughts and prayers. We want them to get well. I do have some things that I've been working on with our partners over at the Lake Barcroft Watershed Improvement District that I'll share with you probably next month. They're important things that involve dam owners throughout the United States, but I'll save most of that later because it's getting pretty involved. Is there any other director or one of the associates that has something they'd like to bring forward at this time?
I'm John. Yeah, I've got a couple things.
Yes, Scott. Hi.
Hi there. A couple things I'd like to mention. First of all, I'd like to report on some of my interactions with the National Association of Conservation Districts. On April 6th, I presented to the Policy Committee of NACD on opportunities for the Biden administration and the Congress to address invasive species over the next year or 2. And then in the wake of that, I'll be presenting this Thursday night to the Resource Policy Committee on Invasive Species, Resource Policy Group on Invasive Species of NACD. So I wanted to just report on those activities with NACD. And the other thing I'd like to mention is a couple of weeks ago, there was a great article in our local newspaper, the Mount Vernon Gazette, on a stream monitoring project that our district had done with a number of volunteers in the Mount Vernon district. It was a front page article with a bunch of photographs. It was just really, really impressive. I took the liberty of bringing a hard copy of that over to Supervisor Stork's office here on Parker's Lane yesterday, and had the opportunity to start interacting with a woman named Kamala Spear, who is both his environmental staffer and his press secretary, as it turns out. So that sequence of events got me thinking that if we're not doing it already, I think it would be a great opportunity to showcase the district's work if we could systematically reach out to supervisors' offices if, say, a week ahead of some activity or event that we're doing on the ground in their district. So maybe the supervisor could come and get a photo op, or meet volunteers, or otherwise get educated, they or their staff, on the great work we're doing. So maybe we're doing that already and I'm just oblivious to it all. But I think it would be great if we could systematically take that opportunity to build relationships with our supervisors.
Thank you, Scott. I think we have been doing that, or trying to as best we can, but that's something we should be doing on a regular basis. And I appreciate that very much. By the way, the Invasive Species RPG Resource Policy Group that Scott mentioned is a relatively new one with NACD. I think it's, what, Scott, within the last year or two that they formed it?
Yeah, that's right, John. It's no more than a year old, maybe just 6 or 8 months old.
So having Scott back with us and involved with invasive species is another benefit to our district. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Scott?
Yeah, I do. A comment, I guess, more than anything else. Nancy, my partner, is involved with a group of people who are seeking to make it illegal for nursery industries to sell invasive species. Now, that idea has festered in the native plant world for a long, long time, but they're making progress. And oddly enough, I mean, it sounds too good to be true. I've sat in on a lot of these Zoom things with her and the organizations that are working on this. So if you are interested in that, give Nancy a call. She's not here today, by the way. She's getting an award, and she's all dressed up. I haven't seen that before, or not too often. And so she's, but I think she would love to hear from you, and perhaps include yourself in some of the deliberations that they're doing.
Love to do that, Harry. That would be great.
Very good.
When she comes home, I'll pass it along.
All right.
John?
Yes.
This is Jim. One thing that I would point out that we can do right now in terms of trying to get or prevent invasive species being planted is work with homeowners associations in the covenant process. They are not bound by the state legislature. That is a private contract between the homeowners within the association. Reston Association in 2016 banned all of the plants on the DCR invasive species list I learned last year. So that is an example of how we can use that covenant process to improve the ecology of our landscapes. We don't have to wait to convince all the downstate people who own nurseries not to plant and sell those things anymore.
Jim,
Good suggestion.
Jim, do you have example of like a model covenant or something like that that a homeowners association could use, or maybe?
I don't have a specific example, but most of them have some kind of an architectural review thing and you can just tack that on to those restrictions. Some of them say you've got to plant with the, you know, if you lose a tree, you have to replant what the developer put in place. One that I ran afoul of was you have to paint your house the same color the developer painted it, even though the previous owner hadn't painted it that color. So it can be used, it can be tacked into those architectural review covenants.
Scott, I'm guessing we could get an example of that covenant that the one did pass. If, you know, those things are pretty public.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And
Yeah.
maybe we could do some sort of systematic outreach to homeowners associations in Fairfax County. I don't know if there's a master list of those things, but you know, that's an interesting question. And maybe, Harry, that's something Nancy would be interested in. And maybe we could team up somehow.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Good suggestion.
There is a master list of all of the homeowners associations in Fairfax County. They keep it right next to the unicorn.
Right next to what?
That's a good joke.
The unicorn.
Oh, the unicorn.
It's a mythical beast.
Okay. Anyway, good suggestion. Thank you both. Anything else on the part of any of our directors or associates? If not, Laura, I think we're down to the executive director's report.
John, can I interrupt real quickly?
Yes, yes.
I just got an email coincidentally from Matt that says the first CAP meeting is May 5th in the evening.
Okay, thank you. Laura?
Okay, I have a few things that I wanted to share, but before I do, I wanted to see if Meredith is still on. I'm not sure that she is. She may have to jump off for a class, but I just wanted to let you know that Meredith and Ashley as a team have been doing a tremendous job with a number of the different spring events that we have, and just as Scott was mentioning, the stream monitoring programs that have been taking place, they have been very, very, very busy. And I really encourage you to take a look at their staff reports. As you all know, our team prepares staff reports every month, and they're chock full of all sorts of great information. So as you are out and about talking with folks, I really encourage you to perhaps refresh yourself by taking a look at those staff reports and seeing what we've been up to, because there is a lot of great information and activities taking place. But before I jump too far into my report, I wanted to give Meredith a second shot at sharing those great videos and PowerPoints that were prepared by the Science Fair Award winners that we had to kind of move quickly through because we knew we were short on time for Adria. Meredith, you want me to give that a try and see if I can pull those up?
Yeah, that would be great. If that works, that would be great, because I know the kids worked hard to put those together.
Okay, so everybody will just have to give me a moment while I am working to upload these. So let's see, which one did you want to start off with, Meredith? The video?
Yeah, let's start with Lynn.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to share my computer audio and share my second screen. You see, Lynn?
No.
Not yet?
I think it's loading.
Okay, it's on my screen. Maybe I have you, maybe I'm sharing the wrong screen.
Hi, my name is Lynn Tao. I'm from Fairfax, Virginia.
It doesn't seem to be working, Laura.
Lost Laura.
Yeah, Laura's off and she is also muted now. I don't know, Laura, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can
Yeah.
hear you. We need to
Okay.
move ahead.
All right. Well, you know what? We will try to get these videos out to everyone. I'm sorry that it hasn't been. We've been running into some difficulties today. So let's see. I'm no longer sharing content. I don't know if somebody else is. Let me see if we can share my screen. All right. And then I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Well, I apologize. I'm running into some technical difficulties today. So we'll try to share those at another time. All right. Let me I was sharing my executive director's report. I just wanted to express congratulations again to our science fair award winners. They really did an excellent job, and they're very worthy of the accolades that we're sharing with them today. I also wanted to mention, and I certainly don't want to steal Ashley and Meredith's thunder, but we are also very pleased that our scholarship committee has selected Ira Kim, who is a senior over at W.T. Woodson High School, and as our local 2021 Future Conservation Leader Scholarship Award winner. So she is very well deserving. This is a wonderful investment from our organization in the future of the conservation field, and we have passed her information along, application along to the state level as well for consideration of another $1,000 award. So we look forward to having her come to a future board meeting and being able to share a little bit more about her achievements and why she's so very well deserving of the award. So we look forward to that, certainly. I wanted to also acknowledge that this week is NACD Stewardship Week. Woohoo! And their theme this year is Healthy Forests, Healthy Communities. So it's perfectly situated right after the course of our seedling sale to talk all about trees and to continue to promote their value and the importance of them in our communities. This is the 66th Stewardship Week that's been sponsored by NACD, and we are really working hard to promote this theme through social media as well. But I want to turn it over to Ashley here for a minute because there is something really special that we did this year that we've been working on. And I think a number of you have heard about it. But we have a wonderful original song that was developed on the back of a napkin, I'm sure, by our very own Don Lacquement, who is a musician, and a music video that was prepared to go along with that song. We provided that to the Virginia Association of Soil and Water Conservation Districts as their sort of, would you call it a video competition, Ashley? A video competition? So yeah. Ours was selected for consideration down at the Southeast Region's NACD meeting as well. And it was selected to represent our overall region of the United States. So Ashley, if is there anything you would like to add? And do you think we could see if our computers will work so we can show it?
Absolutely. So this kind of came out of serendipity for Soil and Water Stewardship Week, which is this week we're in now. The theme, Healthy Forests, Healthy Communities. We wanted to find a way to do video engagement with the community since we weren't doing a lot of outreach activities. And NACD wanted to promote videos from all across the country to share all the work that we're doing. So it kind of came about that they were going to do a lot of videos so everyone could submit, and then it became a bit more selective, so a bit more of a competitive process to get your video aired. And shortly after meeting Don, he told us the story of how he came up with the Stormy the Raindrop song. Meredith was very excited and said, "Oh, just a little do. We can do that too." And it evolved into something much bigger. So knowing all the issues that we've actually had trying to share things today, I've put the link to the direct YouTube video that we've put out into the chat so that you can view it. But I'm also going to try and share. And for this, I'm going to turn off my camera. Feel free to turn yours off as well if you think it'll save bandwidth. And then understand as the video plays that the audio may not be entirely in sync with the video. but Don put an incredible amount of effort into this process. He created the song, the lyrics, everything. He invited his nephew from Charm City Junction, his band, to play instruments. He had his neighborhood children singing songs and joining us as well. And then Meredith spent a ton of hours and time tweaking this and making it look perfect. And I kind of just got to direct and watch everything happen. And we were really, really pleased with the process. So I'm assuming you can see the screen now. I'm going to go ahead and go to full screen. Oh, sorry. It didn't come in with audio. You know how this works now. Alrighty, can you guys see the video?
I cannot.
Any luck yet?
Nope.
Okay. Well, this time we got a fun error. The entire WebEx system is trying to shut down for me.
Yeah, that's what happened to me last time too.
Oh. Could you hear any of it?
No.
All right, well, it won't let me stop sharing or anything. Laura, I don't know if you can take presenter away from me.
Let me see here. Actually, I don't know which one it is you. Probably this one.
If you just click on yourself and give yourself the little swirly bubble.
Oh, make presenter. Okay, there we go.
In any case, it is a truly shameful thing that we cannot share this video with you in front of everyone because of how proud we are of it. It was shared on social media by NACD just a couple hours ago to coincide with our board meeting, I believe. No, not really, but it feels like it. So please, when this is over and you've got some free time, take a moment to watch. And I dare you to tell me it doesn't get stuck in your head.
That's great, Ashley. It really is a very fun thing. And I would say that one of the best things that has come out of COVID is our ability to create these videos and our efforts to move forward with getting video editing software to be able to produce the kinds of things that you'll be able to watch at a later time. So we'll be sure to send along that link that Ashley provided. I think she provided it in the chat as well. I hope you take a few minutes to watch it. It is fantastic, and we're really proud of it and proud that it's getting the recognition that it really deserves. So really great job. Don has really come in, and that was no doubt a surprise for him in terms of hey, welcome to the district. Can you write us a song?
Laura and Ashley, she mentioned that the Southeast region had adopted it. And the Southeast region is now chaired by our own Stephen Meeks from Culpeper, not Culpeper, but Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, that's great. That's excellent. Well, again, I hope you'll take a little bit of time to take a look at the video and follow the link in the chat, and we'll be sure to send it out later as well. I have just a couple of more things that I wanted to share. First off, I'm very excited to share that we are the recipient of one of the 2021 Urban Agriculture Grants from NACD as well. So over the last month, we found out earlier this month that we were awarded the grant, which is fantastic. And we've been working to coordinate with our partners and get the paperwork back to NACD to be able to start moving forward. Just as a friendly reminder about what this project is all about, we are going to be providing some extensive technical assistance, some trainings, as well as support for the establishment of up to 8 new and retrofitting and restoring up to 8 existing small-scale production scale community gardens, particularly in food insecure areas within Fairfax County. So we're working very closely with the Fairfax Food Council's Urban Agriculture Work Group, as well as a number of partners in the area, including Food for Others, Arcadia Farms, the Virginia Cooperative Extension, and again, the Urban Ag Work Group. There's a wonderful was very purposeful to try to complement some of the efforts and outreach and campaigns that are going on through the Urban Ag Work Group and help to bring our resources to the table. So we're very, very excited about that. And if Willie has anything to add, I would be more than happy to turn it over to him as well to share any additional insights. But we are again, working to create this network of growers within Fairfax County and help with not just food insecurity, but also food sovereignty. We want them to grow what they will enjoy and use as well. So Willie is scheduled a kickoff meeting for May 4th. And Willie, do you have anything else that you might like to add?
No, that's good enough. That we're planning to have a work group and to do a kickoff meeting next week on Tuesday, and planning to have at least a monthly meeting just so we can divvy up tasks and we can be able to do reports and determine whether any roadblocks that may delay our delivery. But no, we're working with great partners and everybody's very, very excited.
Wonderful. We're really glad Willie
I
is.
also think it's a perfect time to have this kind of a grant where this business of urban agriculture is beginning to be the in thing. We, as a district, have so far been working assiduously with conservation of natural resources, and it's good that we're still continuing to do that. But it's also important that we can also begin to look at people, human beings that are in need of sustenance, in addition to natural resources that we've been protecting.
Laura and Willie, I know you'll do it, but as you have progress reports on what we're doing, I'd really like to have those so I can share them with the Southeast region when I'm on their board meetings.
Sure. Be a pleasure.
That'll be great. Definitely, I can anticipate that Willie will be including something in his monthly reports to the board. But if there's something more that you might like, John, I hope you won't hesitate to reach out. We'll also be providing quarterly progress reports to NACD as part of the grant deliverables as well. So we can certainly share those with the board as well. Great. Well, we're very excited to get that underway. As Willie was mentioning, we've been working on natural resource conservation for a long, long time here in Fairfax County. We've also always been working in urban agriculture. It's just not the traditional kind of agriculture. But as the zoning and policies were being developed in Fairfax County, Willie was regularly reached out to through the Department of Planning and Development for his input. And as you know, we prepare soil and water quality conservation plans for any new community garden that's going in as well, to ensure that they're going in such a way that they've got those best management practices from the get-go, and can take all of that into consideration through their implementation processes. Two more things I wanted to just mention. Our strategic planning initiatives, as the Executive Operations Committee discussed this morning, we will have a couple of upcoming dates for some longer conversations and more inclusive conversations among staff, the associates, and board, kind of talking about the future of our organization and what we hope to achieve over the next 4 years. We will be looking to schedule an event for everyone the last week of May, so May 24th. So just anticipate seeing an email from me trying to find some time that's conducive for everyone's calendar. And certainly if you're unable to attend, we'll look for opportunities to be able to get your input in an alternative way. We will have a follow-up meeting with the board during that first week of June, and our goal is to have a document for presentation to the board by June 22nd. So it'll be a pretty aggressive timeline, pretty ambitious, but we look forward to continuing to build on the great work that we've been doing in the past as well. Final thing I wanted to mention is on the budget. The Fairfax County budget will be, the Board of Supervisors will be approving the FY22 budget on May 4th. So this is a great time again to reach out to Board of Supervisor members and just thank them for their continued support and be able to share the kind of work that we're doing as well. If you all would like any information as you're doing any communication with the board, or if you would like to do some additional coordination, be happy to support that and provide you with some key talking points, particularly of what we're what that investment means for Fairfax County as well. Investment in our organization. Finally, I just wanted to mention that our next board meeting, we will have guests from the Stormwater Planning Division who are going to come and share an overview of some of the water quality monitoring work that they're doing at the PL 566 lakes and facilities. It's a really unique program, and I really appreciate the fact that they are looking at water quality and have been for quite some time on these very unique structures. So they will be our presentation next month, and we look forward to welcoming them. So with that, that is all I have for today.
Thank you, Laura. Do any directors have any comments or questions for Laura? If not, when she sent out the notice for the meeting, she also sent out the staff reports. Do any of the directors have any comments or questions on the staff reports before we get down to the cooperating agencies? If not, I don't know, Laura, do we have somebody on from Stormwater Planning?
Yes, I think I did see Katie on. She comes
Good
up
morning.
as CMORI1.
Okay, Katie. Good morning.
Good morning. I have yet to figure out how to change my name on here, but I don't have any updates this month. But I think hopefully can partner with Shannon on his presentation next month to share some news.
All right, thank you, Katie. And that leads me to Shannon. Is he on from County Health? I can't see on my participant list that he is.
No, Paul Shannon is not with us this morning.
Okay. And Debbie, is Debbie on from DCR?
No, Debbie
We
had
have her
an
report.
emergency. Yes, she had a last minute obligation that she had to attend to this morning. So she sends her regrets for not being able to be with us this morning, but she did send an extensive report.
Right. She has a report, and I hope you'll read it. Anybody on from NRCS?
No, Peg and Casey are not on this morning. I did want to just mention, Peg is actually going to be doing she's got a 120-day work assignment over at headquarters where she'll be working on some wildlife biology initiatives with NRCS. So she will be not at the local Warrenton office for the next several months, but we'll be doing an assignment downtown. Casey is still going
When
to
you say downtown, Laura, do you mean Richmond or Washington, D.C., if you say headquarters?
In Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So she will be, Casey will be our point of contact really for the next several months. I wanted to mention that they did have their local work group meeting earlier this month as well. It was very well attended, and we were able to share some of the initiatives that we would like for NRCS to support us with, particularly as it relates to urban agriculture. Some of the kinds of questions, just for those who may be interested, the kinds of questions that they ask, it's almost in a way a little bit of a strategic planning kind of initiative for them. It's a strategy session where they can work with all of us partners to identify areas that they should be prioritizing from a water quality standpoint, as well as source water protection kind of standpoint. The initiatives kind of go hand in hand. So we did share a number of the different efforts that are going on regionally with the Interstate Commission on the Potomac River Basin and their work to collaboratively bring a number of the drinking water authorities together and try to engage our local offices with that initiative too. So it was a great meeting. They are very excited. I've shared with them that we were the recipient of the NACD grant. They're very excited to be part of that conversation and continue to expand their services into some of our urban areas too. So that was not part of Peg's report. That's just my report on NRCS. So, but her report is in the package.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, Laura. We're down to the Department of Forestry, Jim.
Thank you, John. I got a couple of things to report on. First, I happened to be at a local native plant nursery a week ago, Saturday or Sunday, and talked with the proprietor there, who I have worked with on other other things quite often. And Randy told me that they are having trouble keeping up with new demand for native plants. He has seen an explosion in people who are first-time buyers of native plants, which suggests that either we were really lucky with the Plant Nova Native campaign and we started at the right time, or it's starting to have an effect and pushing out into the general population. And so we're seeing a lot more use of native plants. And that's just in time for the spotted lanternfly. As you may know, spotted lanternfly showed up in Winchester in 2018. It has been slowly spreading from an epicenter there at a stone yard into Frederick County and up into an adjoining county in West Virginia, as well as Clark and Warren counties. We had a jump this winter with spotted lanternfly eggs found near the VRE station near Manassas Airport in Prince William County. So it's that much closer to us. That's not good news, but at this point, the indications are that spotted lanternfly is a big problem for agriculture, particularly fruit production, and more of a stressor rather than a killer in forested situations. My biggest concern is that it may spur much greater use of wide target insecticides, especially things that kill bees. There have been a number of big bee kills associated with trying to manage honeydew, and these things produce honeydew just like aphids, only aphids are only about 1/8 of an inch. These things are 1 inch to 1.5 inches, so they produce a lot more. I will be briefing the district staff on May 4th. Is that right, Laura?
Yes, at our staff meeting.
Okay.
Is that meeting going to be held by a Zoom?
I assume it's going to be a WebEx meeting. This is the regular staff meeting that I'll be attending.
Yeah, it'll be by Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
Or that might be something that one of the directors might like to listen in on if they could.
Sure, we'll be happy to send the information out for that meeting.
And I was reading something recently about state production of seedlings, and somebody did a survey of all the state nurseries, and the result of that survey turned out that the Virginia Department of Forestry state nurseries produce about 23% of all the seedlings produced by state nurseries nationwide. So we can be really proud of our nursery operation. A lot of that is loblolly pine. I think we produced something like 28 million loblolly pine seedlings this spring. And I looked at the fire weather forecast. It's supposed to be 83 and sunny today and 86 and sunny tomorrow. So this is a good afternoon to get out and enjoy spring.
It is, Jim. Thank you. Any questions for Jim? Or
Jim,
comment?
is that going to trigger the cicada emergence?
Yes, it may. It's not going to trigger it, but it may speed it up.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the board members or other attendees? If not, I believe we have gone through our complete agenda. Is one of the directors willing to offer a motion for adjournment?
I guess it's me and Chris. I would move to adjourn.
And
All right. And Chris will second. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. I want to thank all the attendees. It was a great discussion. I appreciate it all. Thank you.
Thanks for all the work on the seedling sale.
It's fine. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I get your phone number before?